Okay, welcome to session number 2. I see. I'm gonna have to mute. Okay, I'm gonna mute everybody except for Eric. Let me see here. Come on. I'm not getting this to unmute. All right, Eric, can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Okay, great. I just wanted to have somebody who can make sure that the slides are corresponding to what I'm saying. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So that's why I got you unmuted. I'll unmute everybody else afterwards. Man, everybody's popping up here in this little window. But we're going to go ahead and get started here. Let me move this out the way. Okay, so like I said, we're continuing on with the Online Financial Summit 2008, session number 2, Flipping Stocks, How to Make Money in Less Than 1 Hour, Flipping Stocks from Your Laptop. Let me pull this up, pull that up here. Okay, so I want to welcome everybody. My name is J.R. Fenwick, and I am the founder and CEO of a company called Flip That Stock. And right out the gate, I want to share with you why I flip stocks, and then I'm going to tell you my story of how I got into flipping stocks. But the number one reason I flip stocks is freedom. I love freedom. I crave freedom. I have to be free. I got to be free to do what I want to do, when I want to do it, how I want to do it, and that allows me and people to create the lifestyle that we want. And we're going to talk more about that. But basically, the ability to do what I want, when I want, without limitations. And so what I didn't want to do was spend my life being in traffic like this. Some of you can go and just friend me on Facebook, and you'll see this is a picture I took coming home from my daughter's high school. I dropped her off at high school, and I come home, and every day it just hit me. There's this long line of cars that are lined up here, and I live in the D.C. area, to get on a beltway to go to their jobs in the morning, and I get to drive right on past that and come on home to my home office. And the interesting thing is that studies show that about 78 to 87% of people who are in this line, right? 8 out of 10 cars that are in this line are going to jobs they have no passion for, no interest in, or flat out hate what they're doing. And then a lot of times when they get to work, I found this little picture here. They're in this cubicle, and they're outgrowing the cubicle, and they want to get out, and they're just stuck in there, and it's driving them crazy. So the bottom line is, I didn't want to be stuck in this, and I didn't want to be stuck in this. And so I had to do something that would allow me not to be in those scenarios, okay? And it doesn't matter where you are, you can always start designing the life that you want, but you got to put some effort, time, and money into it. And so I began designing my life. And for the gentleman I was just talking to earlier, this is a flight I was invited to speak at a entrepreneurs conference out in Indianapolis, and I'm on the jet, and I'm looking out the window, and I don't know what came over me. I was like, man, there's some beautiful clouds. And I'm not a big picture guy, so I started taking pictures of clouds. And what it really did, it did something to me. Like, it let me know how blessed I am to be able to live the life that I designed and that I truly enjoy. I've been to resorts like this in Florida, where I've gone down there for to stay for a week and go to CEO conferences. I go out to Santa Barbara every year. And if you haven't been to Santa Barbara, it's just freaking incredible. You got to put that on your list. The Pacific Ocean right in front of you, and you might be able to see this little cruise line. I mean, cruise liners just go by, and in the back you got mountains. While I was out there, I had the opportunity to meet and talk to Mark Randolph, who is one of the co-founders of Netflix, net worth of $1 billion. See, part of the thing that you got to do when you're designing this life, you got to get around people. You got to get around people who, are doing things and creating things that you aspire to do and create. So I had an opportunity to talk with him and meet with him and even talk to him about Flip That Stock and some of the things that we're doing. And then when I'm not traveling during the summertime, I'm sitting on my back porch overlooking my pool. All I have is a little laptop here, a little glass of tea, a little headset, and a little Bluetooth speaker. And so I show you this because, again, I like freedom. I don't want anybody telling me what to do and how to do it and, oh, I can get a 2% raise and this, that, and the other. And I'm not trying to put down people who may be working jobs or doing that. I'm just saying you're on this call for a reason. You're on this call for a reason. I don't know anybody who doesn't want more freedom. And so that's what I'm into ultimately, is showing people how to design a life of freedom, but using flipping stocks as one of the tools. And entrepreneurism is another tool, and we'll get more into that in a second. So if you're the type of person who wants to live life on your own terms, I think you're really going to enjoy this session. But let me be very clear right up front. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It is not a, hey, I don't have to take any actions and I'm going to get rewarded. It's not a, I don't have to study and practice and, oh, man, all this stuff is just going to fall in my lap. There's nothing that exists like that. I mean, you got to do something, in order to get something. All right. So all these other things out here, they're promising this, that, and the other. Just be careful. Just be careful when people start saying that. All right. So let me tell you a little bit about myself and my story and how I became a stock flipper. Some of you may have heard this before, but I'll go through it briefly, and we're going to get into the nuts and bolts of everything. But again, I'm J.R. Fenwick. I grew up in Ohio. At a very young age, around 9 or 10, I bought a paper route, had a lawn cutting service. And what this has to do is at a young age, I had the ability to make money for myself. If I needed money, I just go cut lawns, deliver my paper. So it was rare that I went to my parents asking for money. And I didn't even know at that young age I was my own boss. I did know I was my own boss, but I didn't know it was called being an entrepreneur. I went on and I attended and graduated from Hampton University down in Hampton, Virginia. Loved that school. Loved it. Once I graduated from there, I graduated with a very unique degree, nursing pre-med degree. Father was a doctor, mother was a nurse. They encouraged me to go and get that degree and then go on to medical school. I worked in a hospital for a year. I didn't want to go on to medical school or dental school. I had a passion for entrepreneurism, and in particular playing guitar. Some of you guys may have seen me recently on Facebook playing guitar, and you're going to see a lot more of that. Even was one of the contestants years ago on Showtime at the Apollo, the TV show, before you had America's Got Talent and American Idol and all. This was the original and the biggest and baddest talent show out there. And so I had the privilege and honor to be on the TV show, and tied and came in second place. So when I left corporate America, I started taking these little passions I had, playing guitar, and created my own studio. I got into the martial arts and earned my black belt, created my own self-defense course, started a marketing company. And what happened was I started making more. Once I left the hospital, let me back up a little bit. Once I left the hospital, I went into pharmaceutical sales and was making six figures, company car, yada, 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 but was miserable. That's the bottom line. Just became miserable. And people say, how can you be miserable making six figures, driving a company car? Because I wasn't doing what I was passionate about. And I was making the millions. I calculated before I left the pharmaceutical company, I had generated $50 million for them. And I wasn't really getting a cut of that. And so I said, I started taking these little passions, and I said, I want to get up every day excited about what I'm doing. And that's when I started taking my passions. And within 1 year, I was making six figures off my passions combined. So what I did was I quit that job. And I ended up going in my studio and writing a book, or recording an audio book, I should say, called How I Quit My $100,000 a Year Job. Well, I recorded the book because it felt so good to be free and doing what I love and making money. But I had absolutely no idea that I would start receiving invitations to speak at entrepreneurs conferences and do radio and newspaper interviews. And part of what I'm sharing with you before we even get into the stock market piece is you never know where you're going to end up when you start going after your dreams and after your passions. You just never know when you're going to end up. So I put this audio book out, and lo and behold, the Washington Post hears about it, and they give me a call and want to do an interview. And I didn't even know the lady was interviewing me. When she called, she just started asking all these questions on a Tuesday, and then she said on Thursday, the article will be out. And this is way back in March of 2006. And she comes out with this article, "Don't let your boss see you reading this." And then they had another little article in there, "Rat Race Rebel, entrepreneur offers advice to people who are tired of the daily grind." Then another article came out, "Big Wad of Cash." And another article came out, "Want to quit your job? Bowie Man shows the way." And then another one, "Author launches TV show on turning your passions into profits." So I became known as this guy this guy took his passions and turned them collectively into six figures and quit his corporate job. And everybody was asking me to speak and talk about how I did this, right? But notice in there, nowhere did I say anything about the stock market. I didn't say stock market was one of my passions, right? Maybe I had music and guitar and martial arts and my little marketing company. So how did I get involved in the stock market? This is a crazy story. Some of you have heard it, some of you haven't, but every time I tell it, it's just so crazy how this stuff lines up. So I was building this studio, and I was looking for a very unique keyboard to have in my studio. And I found this guy, his name's Jeff Alexander, and he's in the Baltimore area, and he's selling this keyboard. So I buy the keyboard, and me and Jeff become the best of friends. He had a studio like I did. He was a guitarist like me, and we just started hanging out. And so one day, 2 years after I meet Jeff, out of the blue, Jeff says, "Hey, you trade in the stock market?" I'm like, "Nope, I don't trade in the stock market, and I'm not interested." And for the next 2 years, Jeff just stayed on me. "You need to learn how the stock market works." And I kept saying, "I'm not interested." And he'd say everything goes to the stock market. And then he throws stuff at me like this: "You're a businessman, right? You got that studio going and your other business." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm a businessman." He said, "You can't be no real businessman if you don't know how the stock market works." I mean, this guy would just beat me up. But the funny part about it was what he was saying made sense. It just made sense. And so one day we're going to a Super Bowl party. He comes over to the house. He's going to ride with me. Before we leave, he pulls out these 2 big envelopes, drops them on my desk, says open them, doesn't tell me what's in them. And when I open them, it's his stock market portfolio. Look like a bank statement. And we look at bank statements. We ain't got to look at every line. You just kind of go down to the bottom, and it has 6 zeros in front of the number. And I'm like, what? And he looked me straight in the face, and he said, "You want to join me now in the stock market?" And I'm just blown away. I'm done. He done beat me up for 2 years, and now he shows me this. So I go to the Super Bowl party, and all I can think of is I'm going to learn this stock market thing. And I have the type of personality that when I want to learn something, nothing's going to stop me from learning it. It's almost like an obsession, and I became obsessed with trying to learn and figure out what is this whole stock market thing. So Jeff began to teach me, and a couple weeks after the Super Bowl, and then one day I couldn't sleep. I get up, literally, true story, 4 a.m. in the morning. I turn on TV, I'm eating a sandwich, and this infomercial comes on. Talks about a stock market seminar that's coming to town. I'm like, this is incredible. So I go to the seminar. They're selling this software. Some of you guys might have seen it from years ago, red light, green light, yellow lights, and I buy the software. And within and the software cost $3,000 back then. This is 15 years ago. And within the first 30 days, I followed everything they said to do, and I made $3,400. Right? I'm not rich, wasn't rich off of the software, but I knew it worked, and it made sense. And I had an advantage because with all the stuff the guy was teaching, my buddy Jeff had already been teaching me that. So I knew what he was saying was the truth. Ironically, come to find out, when I told Jeff I went to the seminar, I got the software, Jeff said, "That's the same software I got that I was going to show you how to use." So it's kind of crazy how this what you start going after, stuff starts kind of popping up when you stick with it and keep going. And so $3,400, covered the software, a little profit margin, but here's where it really got crazy. And that's one day I bought a stock when the stock market first opened, and 6 minutes later the stock went up $1,000, and I sold that stock and made $1,000 in 6 minutes. And I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. Sitting in my kitchen at my laptop, made $1,000 in 6 minutes. And I didn't know why the stock went up like it did. I was still in the learning phase. But what I did know was I wanted to figure this thing out because I wanted to do it again. And so I became obsessed with trying to figure all this stuff out. Why did the stock go up? So I just, all this stuff, $1,000, 6 minutes from home, sitting at a laptop, and pushing some keys on the keyboard. And then I'm a person, I love numbers. I love crunching numbers. So I did this. I said, let's do some comparisons. $1,000 in 6 minutes. And I took salaries. I said, let's take a salary from $30,000 to $100,000. The average person is probably in here between $30,000 and $50,000. And monthly, they make $2,500, $650 a week, for the 30, and $125 a day, $15, roughly $16 an hour. If you look at a person who made $100,000, they make $52 an hour, and I made $1,000 in 6 minutes. That just, even now as I'm telling you, maybe you can hear the excitement in my voice, it freaking blows my mind that there's something that offers you the opportunity, not the guarantee, and you'll hear me say this over and over again, the opportunity to do this. Because see, if I go into my job when I'm making 6 figures, it's not like they're going to be paying me $52 an hour one day, and then the next day they say, you know what, JR, we'd like to bump you up to, $1,000 in this hour. It ain't happening on the job. But in the stock market, you have that opportunity. And so then I started to look at other things, like how much, remember I said, I was went to school, got a degree in nursing pre-med, and was planning on becoming a doctor. But I said, I didn't become a doctor, but I want to make doctor-like money. So I looked up and said, how much does an average doctor make? And these are statistics from 2015. Average doctor makes $195, and if they specialize, $284,000. So that comes out to be $93 an hour, and after the doctor pays expenses, maybe about $65 an hour. Or if they're making $284 a year, it's about $136 an hour, and maybe after expenses, I'm just rounding it out, maybe about $95 an hour. So I'm like, dang, I beat out a doctor. Like if I make $136 an hour flipping a stock, I'm beating out a doctor, right? And it's relatively easy to do that. Then I look at how long it takes to become a doctor. Again, I'm looking at this from my perspective, like we need doctors, but it just wasn't my calling, right? So time spent to become a doctor, 41,760 hours. That's like 20 years, right? Add another additional 8 hours if you specialize. So it's a big commitment, right? So then I said, well, let's look at how much the average person makes. And I said the average Joe roughly earns about $32,000. Well, that's $615 a week, $123 a day. That's per day. I was like, man, this is incredible. This is the way my mind thinks, like when I'm looking at stuff. So I became obsessed with figuring out why some stocks increase in value so quickly, like the one that I made $1,000 in 6 minutes. So what I did was, I'm like this. When I want something, let me find somebody who's doing it, who's good at it, and who's an excellent teacher, and let me just hire them. So I did what highly successful people do. I hired a coach and a mentor. I had bought their education program. Then they came back and they said, how's it going? I said, it's going great. They said, would you like to have a mentor and a coach? I was like, yeah. And so I hired them. I'm like, hey, I want to get a shortcut, avoid pitfalls, and get straight to, what I want, my end goal. And so I began tracking every stock I bought and sold, and the times that I bought them, and how long it took to make a profit. And I was putting all this stuff on a spreadsheet. I was pretty blessed that my best friend, right when Microsoft came out, A lot of people didn't even know how to work it. He was a spreadsheet expert. So he was teaching me all these little things, and I'm putting them on the spreadsheet, tracking all this stuff. And then I just kept at it and kept at it and kept at it and kept tweaking things and, saying, taking stuff off the spreadsheet and like, I don't need that on there. That doesn't, I don't need that information. And next thing you know, I started making the money. $380 in 20 minutes, $245 in 27 minutes, $1,100 in 15 minutes. Then I made $500 in 47 seconds. That was my record until this came along, $500 in 4 seconds. And I'm going to show you a video because I started recording these. I got a special software, and I said I want to study my trades, kind of like a pro athlete. They get film of their game and they start studying it because it's unbelievable. I wouldn't have believed it myself if I hadn't recorded this stuff. But again, I started looking at salaries and comparing this to that, and I like to be where there's opportunity. Doesn't have to be a guarantee. But there's opportunity, right? And that's what I saw in this. Okay, so I always ask people if you'd like to see a real stock flip. I'm going to assume that everybody would like to see one, and for time's sake, you don't have to type in, yes, I'd like to see one. But before I show you a stock flip, I wanted to show you this, which is it's a dashboard on a fancy sports car called a Maybach. It's about a $200,000 to $400,000 car. And I show this to you because sometimes, well, let me say this. This has a lot of blinking lights on it. Right, a lot of knobs and gadgets, and on most cars nowadays they got a bunch of blinking lights when you get into it, and nobody gets intimidated when they see all these blinking lights. All right, and the reason I bring this up is because I'm going to show you my trading dashboard. It's going to have a lot of blinking lights, and I don't want people to get intimidated, because just like you don't get intimidated here, and you would learn and have learned to drive your car for those who drive, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And so let me go here. This is my dashboard, and you're going to see some blinking lights, but I'm just going to point out two things. One is this little green, we call it a candlestick, and green means the stock is going up. A red candlestick means it's going down. All right, so we're going to pay attention to that, and then we're going to pay attention to what's PL open, which stands for profit loss. Okay, and what I did was I went in and I bought some shares of this stock, and we'll get into that later. But let's watch what happens here. Now, let me pause for just a second. I don't know if you guys can really, because it's really faint. There's a little red line here, and there's a little red line here. And this is where I automated this order. That old infomercial, set it and forget it. I automated this order, and I said, hey, based on what I was studying on this stock, if it shoots up out the gate, and it gets to here and hits this, just automatically cash me out and give me my money. But what if the stock doesn't do what I want it to do? All right, then I have protection down here. If it turns around and starts going, then just get me out of it. See, a lot of people don't know you can set these parameters, but there's a certain way you find the stock, set the parameters up, read your dashboard, et cetera, et cetera. So you can see right out the gate, even though this is going up, I'm negative $67.96 because this is a volatile stock. It's going up and down, up and down. All right, so let's go back to the video. Then it starts going into positive, and it's up and down and up and down, and it's just going up. In real time, this money being made, or it could be money being lost, depending on what the stock is doing for you. But this thing is powering up, and I'm just sitting there watching it, and I'm like, yeah, go baby, go. And we'll see if it pops up. And again, this is I call it my take profit line. And down here, I call this my stop loss line. That means, hey, get me out of that, if it's not doing what I want it to do. And so, boom, it pops up, 47 seconds, $500.04. And so it just blew my mind like, man, this people, quiet is kept on Wall Street behind the curtain. This is what people are doing. This is what people are doing. And they're doing it all day long. And so I want you to think about this. I asked this question. Have you ever seen an NFL field goal kicker with a dirty uniform? Most people say no, because what they do is they go in, they try and get their 3 points and get out and sit on the sidelines until it's time to do it again. All right? They don't want to get hit by a 300-pound lineman. They're just trying to get in, get their points, and get out. That's kind of how flipping stocks is. We get in. Flipping stocks is to generate income, to make right now money. You know, people got right now bills and right now everything else, expenses and right now, things that they need money for. So we like to get in and get our right now money and get out, okay, just like that field goal kicker. So that's what we do as stock flippers. We go into the stock market, we grab the money, and we get out, and we protect ourselves along the way, just like the field goal kicker. Now, I want to show you the what-if calculator. So many times people's brain immediately goes to, what if it doesn't work? What if it doesn't work? Well, how about what if it does work? What if what I'm sharing does work for you? I was just like everybody who was on this line. Sitting, my buddy was telling me about this. I was resistant. I don't know. And then I went to this seminar. I'm sitting in the audience, and I'm looking at this. But I started doing the what-if game. And I said, what if all I did was just make $100 profit 2 times a week? All right? That's $200. That's an extra $800 a month from my laptop flipping stocks. What if I got 200 twice a week? That's 400. That's 1,600 a month. Now we might be talking about somebody's mortgage. What if I was able to do it 3 times a week? All right? Or 4 times a week. So I love crunching numbers. And, so many times people say, well, do you do it every day? Is it a guarantee? There's no guarantees in life. There's opportunities. See, I'm not looking for guarantees because I know that doesn't exist. There's opportunities. That's what people who are financially free and wealthy, they're constantly looking for opportunities. Hey, we all like a guarantee, but there really isn't any such thing. Okay? Now, in order to flip stocks, we got to get 9 myths out of the way about the stock market in general, really. And the first one is you do not need to be rich to even get in the stock market, all right, or flip stocks. Does it help if you have money? Sure, but you don't have to be rich. It's very complicated. No, it's not. But they sure do make it look that way. You need a special certificate, license, or degree to buy and sell stocks for yourself. No, you don't. If you're making recommendations to people and giving them financial advice, like a financial planner, yeah, but not for yourself. You need to be an old gray-haired guy. A lot of times you see the people in the media and in movies represented as an old gray-haired guy. That's the stock market guy. Well, hey, yeah, you don't have to be that. Oh, you got to spend hours doing research, sitting in front of a computer, looking at these complicated stock charts. Nah, actually, you don't. I spend less than an hour a day when I do this, maybe sometimes an hour and a half, but typically less than an hour, and sometimes it's only 15 minutes to a half hour, because there's certain hours of the day when we find these volatile stocks that pop up or drop down like they do. And technology has just become our friend. We'll talk more about that in a little bit. You'll lose all your money. Actually, this could be true if you don't know what you're doing, right? It's just like getting in a car and you don't know how to drive. Probably high probability you're going to get in an accident, hurt somebody or kill somebody or yourself. But when you know what you're doing, just like I showed you in that example of a stock flip earlier, and you get your parameters together and you know how to do that, you know how to protect yourself. Just like when you learn how to drive a car, put your seatbelt on, have airbags, drive the speed limit, etc., etc. You need a stockbroker and a financial planner to buy and sell stocks for you. No, you don't. Sometimes I have so many people come to me and flip that stock who gave their money to stockbrokers and financial planners and didn't understand even what the game plan was, didn't even know what the questions to ask were. Would you give your baby to a babysitter and not know what their plan is or even the right questions to ask them? And I'm not against stockbrokers or financial planners. I'm just saying at least get educated so that you know what's going on. I just can't tell you how many people come to me. And quite honestly, if I'm being honest, and I don't want to offend any people who are stockbrokers or financial planners, but you don't. With the technology that's available now on your laptop, your tablet, your cell phone, And you can do this stuff yourself. It is not complicated when you take the time and invest in yourself to learn it. The best source of information for the stock market is on TV. I see these TV programs with these guys screaming, buy, 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 sell, sell, sell. No, it's not. You can get stuck with a stock for a long period of time. That actually could be true, again, if you're not educated and you don't know what you're doing. And some people get married to these stocks, and they're like, the stock is just plummeting. And they just, it'll turn around. I'm gonna stick it out. My planner said, it's just gonna, flow. Well, sometimes it might not come back. All right, and you can get stuck with a dud. So being educated, you never lose by educating yourself. All right. So there's quick 11 things that I want to share with you guys you should know about the stock market. Number one, Wall Street's the most powerful financial institution in the world. Not knowing how it works puts you at a severe disadvantage, not only economically, but socially. Everything flows through Wall Street, right? It's the most powerful street in the world. And so by not knowing how it works economically, you're losing out on making your money grow. But what do you mean, JR, when you say socially I'm disadvantaged? Well, think about this. If we all walked into a room, or you walked into a room, and everybody in there knew how the stock market worked and was talking about the stock market, and you didn't, then you're kind of get shunned. Like, they're looking at you like, man, we talking about that. You don't even, huh? So I've been in many scenarios, and let me tell you, people with money, we talk about the stock market. Even when we go to parties, even when we go to football and basketball, it's going to come up. Hey, Eric, what stock you looking at, man? What you looking at for next week? It comes up, all right? So if you don't know about it, you're going to be socially almost ostracized in certain circles. Number two, man, when you get in the stock game, it's an easy way to get ownership in companies without having to do the work behind running the company, hiring, firing, book accounting, and all this stuff. You just go in there and you grab a slice of the company. You buy shares, which are just slices of a company. So it's easy. It's an easy way to get ownership. Number three, knowing how to buy and sell stocks puts your money to work while you relax. No more lazy money. This money got to get up out of this chair so I can sit there, so you can sit there, so we can sit there and go out, go to work, and bring us some of your friends back. All right? Don't call in sick. There is no vacation. Get to work. It's a beautiful thing. And that gets into linear versus passive income. It gives you passive income. Linear income, or what they call active income, you go to work and you get paid a certain amount for the work you do. But you got to actively go and do something to get it. Passive income, boom, you buy something, a stock, and it passively can go up or down. And you have the opportunity, again, to make money. Again, no special degrees or certifications from college needed for you to buy and sell stocks for yourself. And I put this on here again because I get so many people who come to me saying, I thought I had to have some kind of certain degree or something to get into the stock market game. No, you don't. This is my favorite. You can buy and sell stocks from anywhere in the world, from your laptop, your tablet, and your smartphone, even the beach. I could do a whole seminar on all the places I've been flipping stocks. You don't need millions of dollars to start. You can start small and grow. But here's the crazy part. When you flip stock, this is what a lot of people don't know. You can make money when a stock goes up. We all know that, buy low, sell high. But did you know that you can make money when a stock goes down in price? And some people say, yeah, the stock goes down and it goes lower and then I'll buy it here and ride it back up. No, I'm talking about getting it here and as it goes down, making money. Okay, and there's a special technique that we teach people how to do that and how to find these stocks that you can do that with. And the reason that I have the picture of the house and the car and the jewelry and the furniture, because wouldn't it be nice if you could make money when the price of your house goes down or your car or the value of any of these items go down? But you can't. But you can make money when the value of a stock goes down if you know what you're doing. So when I found that out, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's counterintuitive, but it's true. Then you have to understand there's a difference between investing and trading. All right, you can buy and hold stocks for a long period of time, years, right, or a short period of time, months, weeks, days, hours, minutes, even seconds. So investing is when you buy and hold stocks for 1 year or longer. Trading, because we're looking to generate income, is when you buy and hold stocks over a shorter period of time. Right? Here's another thing I love, right? Stocks are always liquid. You're always guaranteed you'll be able to sell them with a click of a button, right? You're not guaranteed the price you can sell them for, but how many people when the housing market was crashing wished, or knew somebody, man, I just want to get rid of this property, and wish they could just push a button on their computer and get rid of it, or a car or jewelry or furniture. So that's another thing. I realized back in '08, when everything started crashing, I had a lot of friends who were going out buying all these properties and wanted to flip them. And I have absolutely nothing against real estate. I believe in real estate. I believe in flipping. It was just that period they got caught in. And, one friend had 11 houses and couldn't get money to fix them up and flip them, all that. And so it was just a horrible situation. And that's when it really hit me. I can push a button and in less than a second, bam, be out of that stock if it's not doing what I wanted to do, or if I just want to get my money out of it and roll on. So I like that feeling, and I like being able to do it from anywhere in the world with an internet connection and a laptop. And then number 10, there's no prejudice, because this computer doesn't know what my race is, my color, my sex, my religion, my age. It doesn't matter when I'm buying and selling stocks. All right, so you don't have that interference. Which is just outright stupidity. But that's a whole other topic. And then the other thing is, it's just fun being able to discuss the stock market with people. How many times have you gone out with friends and you sit around and you talk about the job you don't like? The kids are driving you crazy. Oh, you wish you could go on vacation. Oh, man, a lot of people, today is Sunday, they're going to be miserable tomorrow because they got to go into a job they don't like. And it's the end of their freedom. See, what Monday represents, and the reason Monday is the #1 most hated day, is because your freedom ends on Monday and you go back into doing something. And so wouldn't it be nice if you went out and you're sitting here and you're talking about, you can talk about the kids, you can talk about the job you hate, but what if you say, hey, man, I'm looking at this stock, and I just got this one, I'm going to flip this one, I'm going to do this one. It's a different ball game. It's a different mindset. That's where we're at. That's where we want everybody to be in 2018. Now, along the way, as I'm learning all this stuff in the stock market, I learned something really interesting. I learned the truth about making money in the stock market and the formula. And where they want you to believe is this complicated formula, pi squared by this and divided by the root of 3 to the 10th power and whatever all that means, I found out, you know what? There's no complicated formula. Here's the formula. You take the number of shares you have times price movement. Number of shares times price movement equals your profit or loss. Let me give you an example and why this is so important. Sometimes we hear people say, oh man, Google, get some Google. Google's a great company. All right. Well, Google costs about, $1,000 a share. So let's go in and we buy 1 share of stock in Google, and let's say it moves $1. All right. Well, number of shares times price movement of $1 means we made a whopping $1. Okay, and after we pay our broker the fees, we're in the negative. So you got to understand this formula when you get into this. Now let's take example number 2. A second person, they go and they buy 500 shares of a stock. All right, and it moves $1. You made $500. All right, so you have to understand this formula, and most people don't. They start talking about, well, my uncle told me to get such and such a stock and just hold it. Well, it depends on what your goal is. If you're flipping stocks, we're not holding stocks. Maybe if you're investing in stocks, it might be a good thing to do, but you got to understand, how many shares can you get, even if you're going to hold it. Suppose you had $1,000 in an account and you got 1 share of Google. All right, and it goes up $15, $20. Even if it goes up $100, okay, you made $100. That's cool, but still, you might have been able to find a stock at a lower price and get more shares and get that same movement. So you have to understand what your goal is, right? And you got to understand this formula. And very few people understand this simple formula. So flipping stocks, it's a skill set that you can learn to make money from your laptop for the rest of your life. Stock market's not going anywhere. All right, it's the fabric of America. If it goes somewhere, the world is ending. And the beautiful thing about you can learn, and it's outside of a job or the control of a boss. I got people who are at work flipping stocks while they're at work, and they got their computer set up and things like that. Boss got no control over it. That's a beautiful thing. All right, but flipping stocks is not something you should try without proper education and coaching. That's similar to saying, hey, I'm going to go out and buy a car, but I don't know how to drive, and I'm not going to invest in learning and taking a driver's education course. It's not going to fare well for you. You might get lucky, get up the road or something, but it's just a matter of time before, devastation occurs. And, there's just certain things you shouldn't do in life without education and a hands-on teacher or coach. And think about this. And I was thinking about this, and I was like, man, what if you had a pilot saying, I skipped my pilot's education and coaching, but hey, come get on the plane. I'm going to kind of just wing this, pun intended. I'll just figure it out as we're going. Who's going to do that? Or your dentist says, I skipped dental school. I skipped practice. Open your mouth wide so I can go ahead and drill there. I ain't sitting in this chair. Or your surgeon says, I skipped medical school. Now lay on my table. You're my first patient. I didn't go to medical school and I didn't practice. Who's going to do this? Or the best one, when my daughter was 12 years old, her name is Jenna, and I'm driving along, and she's like, Dad, pull the car over. I'm like, what's wrong? She's like, I know how to drive. I'm like, oh, yeah? And she was serious as a heart attack. I know how to drive. I said, how do you know how to drive? And she had a little iPhone, and she turns her iPhone to me, and she had an app, a driving app with a little steering wheel and a little acceleration pedal and a little brake pedal that you push with your fingers. And she really thought that she knew how to drive because of this little app. Nah, you're not getting behind my wheel. Matter of fact, the rest of the story is when she got her driver's license, the first thing she did as she was backing out of our driveway was run into my brand new car. So, I don't even want to think about that. But anyway, so you should never try to flip stocks without the proper teacher and coach. Remember when I got started, my friend Jeff started teaching me. Then I attended a seminar and I purchased the educational course and software. Then I hired a personal coach, and even today I have a personal coach and mentor to keep me sharp and keep me on point. And there's 6 reasons people fail and lose money in the stock market. Number 1, lack of education. Number 2, they don't know how to set their goals. Number 3, they got absolutely no game plan. Number 4, they don't know how to find the stocks to achieve their goal. Number 5, they don't know the rules and regulations of the stock market, right? And number 6, they don't practice. So let's take this and use an analogy. Again, going back to the car. Suppose you didn't get educated on how to drive a car. You didn't even know how to set goals on where you wanted to go with the car. You didn't know how to get directions and had no game plan. You didn't even know how to find the stores or wherever you wanted to go to. You didn't know the rules and regulations of the road, and you didn't practice. How can you possibly think you're going to be successful? But there are people out here that do just that. And the biggest reason that people fail is they say, I got it. JR, you gave me this information. I got it. I can go this alone. I can do it by myself. And I don't really need a coach, man. Come on now. All I got to do is go and Google how to trade stocks. Well, hey, I did the work for you. 105 million websites came up in less than 1 second. Which one you going to start with? All right? Or, you got all these videos. I'll go on YouTube and I'll do a search, how to trade. All right, well, 324,000 videos came up. Which one you going to start with? All right, well, I'll go on Amazon and I get a book. Great. All right, there's 1,732 of them that came up. You see, it's a double-edged sword with this. I don't know anybody who's a successful trader that doesn't have, and stock flipper, that didn't have somebody personally mentor them and take them step by step through the process. You can't read a book on flipping stocks and think you're going to be proficient. You can't just watch a video and just think you're going to watch a video and flip stocks and become proficient. I don't know anybody who is consistently making profits who's done that, okay? So there's no reason to go it alone, to stumble through all the pitfalls and crash and experience massive failures. I'd like to be your teacher. We'd like to be your teacher here at Flip That Stock. And we've developed an education course that specializes in teaching beginners. I love teaching beginners because, number one, their mind is clear, and I can show them, the right way to get into the stock market, protect themselves, maximize their profits. We also teach investors, and those are people who are in it, they buy and hold stocks or other investments for a longer period of time, and they say, hey, I like to get into something where I can, a little faster pace, I can get in and grab some money. I got my investment account set up. Now I want to learn how to do this. And we've got a significant number of people who've taken other courses and come to us because they were just overwhelmed with the information, and they left there after paying them tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't talking about a couple thousand. I'm talking about tens of thousands, and came out and just like, it's too much. It's just too much. So our biggest claim to fame is that we're organized, we're systematized, and the way we use analogies to teach, just like using a car. I have a system, because of my background in healthcare and also in martial arts. I do these seminars. How am I going to take 20 years of martial arts and break it down into a 90-minute self-defense seminar? And when I started using analogies and using this system, people would pick up instantly. And so that's how we teach the stock market. We take the complexity out of it, and then we teach you our system. And so we put together special membership that will walk you straight through these three phases. First, learning step by step how the stock market works and how to make money flipping stocks using our unique and fun system. Secondly, we're going to show you how to set up a practice account so that you can practice flipping stocks live in the stock market without risking any money. It's like Monopoly money, but you're really in the stock market with this software. And then third, we're going to teach you how to go live in the stock market to flip stocks. And so in this membership, people who know me know I'm an organization fanatic and a systems fanatic. Like when I bought that software years ago, I just followed everything they said to do. And that's how I made, money with them. So when I was creating my own system, I love things being organized. So everything has to be organized. We have online classes. And these short video modules, about 3 minutes each. I don't want to sit and watch a boring video. And the PE ratio of the stock is, I'm falling out my chair when I hear stuff like that. My videos are fun, they're interactive, and we get straight to the point. And we teach it in a way that's understandable. We get so many compliments on that. And yes, I am tooting my own horn because I'm going to tell you the truth. You can't imagine how much time and effort I put into developing this. I'm extremely proud of what I created, and we'll put it up against anybody's course. We're going to teach you real live trading examples and what to look for. We have a live trading schedule where every week, typically 2 times a week, we go into the market and we do live training, and people can ask questions over and over again. Can you demonstrate how to do this? And we show the techniques that we do, right? Imagine this. I got a black belt in a style of martial arts called Wei Chi Ru. But imagine if my instructor, I'd come to his house and we just sit in the living room and watch videos, but we never practice it and simulated real life situations and went over this. That really doesn't work too well, right? Well, what if you do a stock trade and it doesn't go your way, JR, and you're losing money? Good. You need to see that. You need to see what I'm doing. How do I do? How do I react to that? How do I minimize those losses? Likewise, when the stock is going through the roof, how do you lock in those profits? We show you all that. We'll go over the 6 steps of success. We're going to show you how to track everything. Not hard to do. We're going to show you, this is one of the most important things, reasons people fail once they get started. I got a list, and I show you. These are the pitfalls. Let's stay away from those. But my favorite quote is by Henry Ford. Failure is just another opportunity to start again more intelligently. So even if you do fall in one of those pitfalls, we identify it. We say, you did number 3. Let's work on that. All right. We have a stock market calendar to tell you when the market's open and close. We'll show you how to read the overall health of the market in less than 2 minutes. We're going to, most importantly, show you how to create a game plan using a proprietary stock calculator that I created from scratch. We're going to show you how to use this stock screener that we use to find these stocks. There's thousands upon thousands upon thousands of stocks. JR, how do you find these stocks? With a click of a button using technology. In less than a few seconds, boom, it gives me a list of potential candidates that can offer me the opportunity to make money. Then we're going to show you how to use that trading software. We also have a bonus where we have something called Profit Friday, where every Friday we have people from all over the country tune in for an hour, just an hour, in the morning, and some people in their practice account, some people in their live account, and our whole goal is to help everybody get a profit and walk away that Friday. You know how good it is to flip a stock on Friday and go into your weekend like that? And likewise, if it doesn't do what we want to do, we're going to show you how to minimize those losses, okay? So ultimately, our goal is to help you acquire a new skill set. You can make money the rest of your life without a boss controlling it, right? That's an ugly word to me, So, and enhance your lifestyle. Going back to the whole purpose I even got into all this. So when I got started, my friend Jeff started teaching me. Then I attended a seminar and I purchased his educational software. This is 15 years ago, and it was $3,000 plus $129 a month. The software would be equivalent to your TV. The $129 a month fee was like cable coming into your TV to get the stock quotes and all that. All right. Then I hired a personal coach and I paid him $4,500 for 8 45-minute sessions. And check this out. There was no screen share back then. The internet wasn't big back then. So this guy, they sent me a workbook, and he'd call me on the phone every Friday from 3 to 3:45, and he'd say, okay, on page, such and such, look at this diagram. We're talking on the phone, right? Technology has advanced so much. But, between all of this, I put out about $10,000 just getting started in this, and that was about 15 years ago. So that $10,000 in today's money might be, $30,000 to get started. And even today, I have a personal coach, and I pay him thousands a year. And it's well worth it. But really what I was doing was I was investing in learning a new skill set that makes me money outside of a job, isn't controlled by a boss, and I can use the rest of my life. That's what I want. The name of the game in today's world is having a skill set to make you money. I know a lot of people that have kids who've gone up through college, they come out, they got no skill set. And speaking of college, average cost of a college credit, one credit, $200 to $300. Most college courses are 3 credits. You're talking about $600 to $900 for one course. And after you take that one course, you got no degree and you got no skill set, right? Average tuition for college, $20,000, and it's probably higher than that. 4 years, that's $80,000 to get a degree. And I got friends who have spent that on their kids. Kids can't get a job, all right? There's an article that came up, why are so many college students failing to gain job skills before graduation? And they're paying all this money. So what is the cost of an annual Flip That Stock membership? You might be asking. There is no cost. You got to change your language. It's an investment in your education to learn a new skill you can use the rest of your life outside of a job. And so keep in mind, 15 years ago, I paid $3,000 for a course plus $129 a month. Here it is 15 years later, and my course is $2,997. And the investment in yourself is that, and that's for a year's membership. That's going to include everything that we discussed before. Now, I'm going to have a special offer for you today, and when we put these special offers together, we have a programmer that programs in certain codes and stuff to give discounts. And in 2017, we were given a $1,000 discount. But as with anything, inflation and everything else, I was going to give a $500 discount off of that $2,997, making it $2,497, basically $2,500. But I said, you know what? It's the beginning of the year. We're getting off. There's a lot of excitement. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead. I want you to write this down, FTS Now. FTS Now, which stands for Flip That Stock Now. And for those people who are ready to get started right now learning our system, you'll still get that $1,000 discount. All right? Not only are you going to get the $1,000 discount, you're going to get me for a one quick start session. All right, you're going to get me for a half an hour quick start session. Now, this will be for the first 5 people. I can't do it if 100 people sign up, but for the first 5 people, when you sign up today, and you're going to get me for a half an hour over screen share, one-on-one, and I'm going to walk you through how to jumpstart and get a quick start. Our system is already laid out immaculately, but you may have some questions and things like that. And so you're going to get me in addition to that. So here's how you use your $1,000 discount code. All right, you go to flipthatstock.com. You click on Become a Member. This will come up. You fill this information in and click Continue. It's going to take you to this page. This page has been changed a little bit, so it might be a little different when you go there. You scroll down to the bottom on the order form, and where it says Enter Coupon Code, you put in FTS Now, and you click on this little check mark to activate your code, and then bam, you click Submit. And just to kind of wrap things up, the question I have for you, you saw how I'm designing my life. And that doesn't mean that there aren't bumps in the road and ups and downs and all that. That'd be ridiculous to think, there's never any obstacles or challenges or heartache in your life, JR. That's ridiculous. But I live an incredible life. I'm enjoying it, and I'm continuing to design it every day and every year. So the question I have for you is, how are you designing your life? What tools are you using to help you get freedom, to help you get in the opportunity pool? So you got to get in the opportunity pool, right? So that's everything I have for you. If you have any questions, you can feel free to email us. Matter of fact, I'll take some questions now. Let me open this up. I'm going to turn off the record here.